All right, guys, welcome back to another book review. My name is James.
Ninetailedbrush.
And today we're going to be talking about part 1, like the first half, chapters 1 through 14 of Deathly Hallows. So, welcome to the new setup. I'm going to be apologizing about technical difficulties for the next 3 weeks till I really optimize how to do the sound and everything in here. But bear with us. This is the second to last video that we're going to be doing about Harry Potter. So, we're going to be doing a live stream kind of reviewing the whole series as kind of a last hurrah Harry Potter celebration sort of thing. But beyond that, this is going to be the last Harry Potter book video we're going to do, which kind of stinks. Maybe we'll do other books. I don't know. I'm really not making any promises because it's just really time consuming. Mm-hmm. But if you guys want to throw some suggestions as to, what you would be interested in seeing us read after this, maybe some Stephen King or something like that, We'll definitely take it into consideration. Like I said, though, no promises. All right. So, Deathly Hallows. Dumbledore is dead. And here we are. I mean, what did you think so far of the first half?
Okay, so let me pull up. I did my.
You're showing me up here.
Well, normally I read or listen to the audiobooks on my phone, but this time I did it on my computer. And instead of doing notes on paper, I did them on the computer.
Okay.
So I had to send an email to myself. But I mean, I'm liking this book.
It's a lot like the movie, right?
It is very similar to the movie. At least the moments that were actually in the movie, mm-hmm. right? I feel like I feel like I say this a ton. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there are definitely scenes in here that I think enhance the story.
Oh, for sure.
Right? But there are times where I'm like, okay, how would you convert it to a movie? Because it's so hard to do because you can't have a movie that's, that includes basically everything and still be, a concise, well thought out movie.
I honestly think some of the stuff they should have it pretty much is, but then it was weird because there were stuff that I felt were really good character moments that they just decided to leave out. But it didn't seem like they had a reason. Some of the other Harry Potter movies, I feel like I could understand the evil Hollywood businessman, okay, we need to make Quidditch more entertaining, blah, blah, blah. I could see it. Whereas this movie, I'm Deathly Hallows Part 1, and I don't know about you, it's a solid movie, but it's definitely slower.
It is a lot well, yeah.
Right?
Compared especially to Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Or Half-Blood Prince even, right? Even the movie right before. And so, to me, I'm okay, so you have tons of details about them camping and stuff like that, which we've gotten a very little taste of. 100% accurate, but then we miss these great character moments or Harry's birthday or the subtle little hint and throw off with the Grindelwald looking at the Deathly Hallows symbol and him freaking out about that. No, I mean, it didn't even need to be Victor Crumb. I get it. That's a little complicated, but that totally should have been there. I think that would have been way cooler. Little things like that I think could have been interesting or just very good character moments. All of the time with Harry at the Weasleys, I was just trashing character development. It's let's just throw all of this out. Harry and Ginny, everybody. And I'm why? This is the second to last movie. You're about to kill half these people. You're going to kill Lupin. You're going to kill Tonks. And you don't even give them any screen time. And it's not you're doing anything else, really.
Yeah. I mean, to me, this is the thing. Is I was thinking about a really how would I kind of do it? And it'd be really tough because, there are characters in the movies that randomly popped up, and you would think this, whatever interaction or this experience should be somehow impactful, but I don't even know who this character is at this point, right?
Yeah.
It feels like they have such a big role to play, or at least an impactful role to play, mm-hmm. but they barely showed up in any of the previous movies. Yeah. That it feels like they just came out of nowhere and felt like there was something there, but you didn't have it because you didn't get to know them. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking I feel like with a few of the characters that could have felt like that. Mm-hmm. I feel like in the movies, especially with a character such as Dobby, since we only got him like one time.
Or Mad Eye. I forgot that Mad Eye died in this book because it didn't affect me. And sorry if you guys are a big fan. Like, I like Mad Eye in the books a lot. The constant vigilance, the whole thing. He's great. And I literally had forgotten that he died in this movie, because when we watched the movie in this book. Because when we watched the movie, it just wasn't... I was like, oh, okay, Mad Eye's dead.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the things it's the fault of the continuation of the story and not having anything set up. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, but even stuff like Lupin and Tonks, I feel like...
No, yeah.
They should have focused on more. You had a whole movie with Lupin, and if you just hadn't, stuffed him in the closet for the rest of the series... Even then, I still really cared about his death. But I would have, wept. If you had just left him a little bit... like how he is in the books, just relevant.
No, yeah,
as opposed
100%.
to trash in him.
Yeah, especially with a character such as Lupin, because you did have Lupin already set up in the past movies, the Prisoner of Azkaban and stuff. So they definitely could have made his moments, at least there, right? I think whereas they weren't.
And I think it's important to the story because he is the last remnant of Harry's past. I think that's very important. Actually, I would argue thematically, it's important that he stays in the movie too, because it's not just a side character. He is Harry's last connection to his dad. And this story is about those two generations. It's about those people with Snape and with Lupin and with, Voldemort's first attack and then Harry's generation. It is about those two paralleled stories.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah, I can definitely see that, how the movies kind of did leave out some things that they 100% could have put in. But I think my overall assessment so far is I'm liking the books.
Yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a rant. It was a little frustrating.
No, yeah. I feel
Deathly Hallows part 1 especially.
But I feel so far, Deathly Hallows, I mean, I am really liking the book. I don't know. I can't judge personally just because I don't know what I would have done in the movies as far as bringing characters up and all that and trying to, stick in all those moments.
It's okay. We're gonna remake them. So, keep watching these videos and then I'm just done. There we go.
No, but like I said, I am liking the book a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm enjoying this book a lot so far. I really liked, something the movie did nail and was just a great scene overall was the whole flight of the broomsticks, for lack of a better term. That scene. I guess
when they got ambushed.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That was super cool. I liked the way it was done in the movie. I liked the way it was done in the book. That was just a well done scene. Moody dying legitimately sucked. So that was really cool. I guess characters. So let's talk about some characters in this book. I don't know. It really is back to square one, to me at least. It's back to Ron, Hermione, and Harry, and that's it. And because the books focused, the books paid some attention to other characters, now that it's just them, it feels significantly different than any of the middle books. It feels like we're back. It's more mature, but it's back to the first book.
It does feel like
it's just the crew, and there is no one else. There's no Dumbledore. There's no Weasleys. There's nobody else.
Yeah, especially toward the second part of this first part.
Yeah,
it started to feel like, hey, we're kind of going back to the roots, except for these roots have kind of grown, right?
Yeah,
and to me that's cool. I like that, and I mean, one of the things I don't like is when shows or movies or whatever try to get you with that nostalgia trip a little too much. But here it's obviously not. It's definitely, it's you're going back to that core group because, in the end, that's what we need right now, right?
Yeah. And I think the beginning did a really good job of, even in the apocalyptic world, of showing you the good stuff. And so now that we're smack dab in the middle of everything, it's to me at least, I feel the weight of those stakes, of this book specifically, where it's everybody's hanging out and it was a fairly good time at Fleur's wedding. It was cool with all the characters they brought in and Harry's birthday party and Lupin and Tonks getting married and all this different kind of stuff. And then that is thrown into chaos and it's okay, that's what we're fighting for. Now we're following Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And I think that's just really good story construction.
Yeah, 100%. What did you think about the whole wedding thing?
I liked it a lot. I think that it was I really didn't like the way it was done in the movie. Not to just go to compare, but I remember when it happened, I was like, who's Bill?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the chick from the competition. Oh, and okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed how it was done in the book, whereas I didn't enjoy how it was done in the movie. However, personally speaking, I thought it felt a little bit like out of place. That's just my own personal feeling.
Okay.
Because
that makes sense.
Because this is the thing is, we start off with the Snape and the Death Eater's whole thing, right? And then we go into Harry and what he's having to deal with from the past book, and now it's like, we gotta get you out of here, we gotta tactically kind of because of the Ministry and stuff
and
like
the
that.
Death Eaters and
And then we go up. There's an ambush. People are dying, And then we kind of switch over. Like I felt like the pace really, at least to me, flipped. Especially since it was. This is the thing is like to me it felt we weren't just in wartime, but we were on the battlefield.
That's true. I do get where you're coming from.
And to me, it was like I totally forgot about the wedding completely.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. When Mrs. Weasley was bringing up stuff about the wedding, I was like, is this the time for that?
Yeah.
It just felt like that. And so to me, I feel like I actually didn't care for the wedding, even though, let's just say from my own, for my own pleasure, I love seeing, them get together and stuff. Really I'm like, yes, nice. Yeah. But overall, it did feel for me out of place.
Okay, well, I guess my counter, I do get where you're coming from. I guess the counter, in world that I would say would be the fact that it, as much as it feels like wartime from Harry's point of view, it isn't yet. And so we're still doing this thing that we've been doing the whole book. J.K. Rowling, I swear, she hates the government or something. This is the most anti-government book series I've ever read in my life. We're doing the same thing we've been doing for the whole book series, which is the Ministry is either not believing or is secretly controlled or is whatever. So it's not straight up. It's like, this is a bit of a harsh analogy, but it's a little bit like the Schindler's List, like the beginning, where it's like, okay, live in this section. It's not straight up okay, we're persecuting the mudblood muggles yet. It's kind of just okay, we're going to start writing your names down, and nobody in the populace is really processing it yet fully. And so I think I would say the reason that's happening is because as much as war is around Harry, they can't fully acknowledge it yet because no one else is. Mr. Weasley still has to go to work at the Ministry. It's what? The Ministry is basically evil, and it's he still has to go to work at the Ministry. So does Bill. And so in the same way, they do have to. And then on top of that, humans are kind of weird where there are these apocalyptic events and they're still oh, you want to have a wedding? And so then because of those two things where they're well,
that's true,
we do love each other, do you want to have a wedding? And then they're well, we need to pretend all things are normal. So then it's okay, well, we're having a semi-regular wedding then, kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
I said, I still get where you're coming from.
This is the thing is compared to past books where I was okay, it's one of those things where even during wartime you have these moments where humanity still lives on, and the little things that you do every day, that was when it was before the war, you still do during it, because that's just how humans kind of are. Life moves on. And you still do those little things that you want to do. But here it didn't feel like we were just in wartime. It felt like for example, in an apocalypse situation, we are in a food shortage or something.
That's true.
The walls are breaking down. The zombies are here.
That's true.
Hey, you want to grab a drink real quick or something like that, right? It wasn't hey, we're holding in. Things are bad, but hey, I still want to live my life.
Maybe it was a mistake then. Maybe that's why they got attacked.
That's true.
Right? They did get ambushed, and that was a bad move, and they were in a bad place strategically.
I just thought, it wasn't smart.
That's
what
true.
Are we doing?
That's true.
That's just what
I think Auntie Muriel has revealed herself as the true villain of the whole book. Oh my gosh. And of course she's a Rita Skeeter fan. I was oh my gosh.
Yeah, that whole thing with the Rita Skeeter thing, and
I think Rita Skeeter should become the new, not really, but it should become the new Karen. If you really hate a reporter, I'm just going to call you Rita.
Rita Skeeter, okay. No, but like, yeah, I think one of the things that makes her really annoying, I feel, is that she never really.
I mean, everybody has kind of a relative like that, though, right? I mean,
no, yeah, I just feel like both Aunt Muriel or whatever and Rita Skeeter both kind of feel very like you get this weird like frustrated, annoying feeling from them because they're attacking people that are reasonly good.
It's like the comments attacking Dumbledore. No, I'm kidding.
Listen, okay. There's some
a little bit.
Okay, but it feels like they're attacking these people, but they never really get in the thick of it, and so they're like taking pot shots, but they're never in any danger.
The dude's dead. It's like, now we got to write an expose about him. It's like, oh my gosh, you people, leave the poor man be.
Yeah, I mean, like people like Voldemort. Like you don't get that same feeling because they're in the thick of it. Like they're fighting. They're trying to do stuff themselves. They're in danger. But like, they're the reporters, all those side people taking shots. It's kind of like, get out of here.
It's like, they're not going to get it in the end, right? Like Voldemort, it's like, all right, he's going to get his butt kicked eventually, even if Harry did die, But like, Auntie Muriel isn't. She's going to keep on being mean. And she's going to live a long life. Like, those kind of people never get, like... Because they never have the guts to go in the thick of it. Nothing's ever going to happen to them.
Yeah.
They're never going to suffer for being mean. They're just going to be, like,
there,
jumping on whatever side is winning, doing their thing. And it's like,
Yeah, no. Of course. But that's just what... that's why all those people, like, really... I don't know. Get the...
I think it's uber relatable too, though, because it's like
100%.
Also, we don't run into a Hitler wizard every day.
Yeah.
Whereas you do run into those people all the time.
Yeah, you run into people that you can't, throw a spell at. You can't do that. You have to just deal with it.
You ever worked food service?
Oh, goodness. I feel bad for you guys.
So yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying. I'm liking the Ron, Harry, Hermione dynamic a lot. As long as we don't get any stupid jealousy, love triangle BS, which I don't think we're going to get. I'm so happy about.
I mean, you never know.
We'll see. I really, if it happens, I'll be curious to see how it happens.
Me too, because...
I really did not like it in the book. Because it seemed to undermine... Or in the movie. Because it seemed to undermine, like, everything that Harry and Ron had become. That's something that would have happened 4 books ago. And the fact that it happened was so inconsistent.
Yeah.
And it was just like, did you just throw your... Like, I know you're stressed and you're teenagers and there's hormones, but still, like, did you throw your whole friendship out the window? Like, what's wrong with you?
I mean, some people, I might say that it's probably going to be due to the Horcrux, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Even then.
I still think it feels like an annoying... Because to me, when I think of the Horcrux, I think of it playing on, one of your weaknesses or something like that, right? Whereas at this point in the story, I feel like Ron, Hermione, and Harry should have basically moved on from a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
A decent amount, at least. I feel like the Horcrux should, play on a little bit of a different angle or some other, I don't know, motive or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like that's just kind of already been exhausted in the storyline.
Yeah. I still feel like it's going to happen.
Really? Oh, I hope not. We'll see.
Before we move on, like... Mm-hmm. Just toward the Hermione stuff, what do you think about, like, towards the start? I mean, we still had the Snape thing, and we also had the Dursley interaction, which we totally didn't get in the movie.
That's true. That was different. That's one of those things I totally get why they cut. But I liked reading it. I liked those are the kind of things that I read the books for. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very interesting. I really liked what's his name? Dudley. I really liked that. I was like, whoa. Dudley has a redemption arc? Like, whoa. And I really liked that.
It's not even like a redemption arc, but it's almost like...
Well, he almost just had character development. Like, the Dursleys were so like, yeah, like just the evil, patriarchal...
Yeah.
I know that's not the right word, but just like the evil parent figures. Yeah. And Dudley was just the evil bully figure. And I was so, like, blindsided by the fact that he was given any development, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, honestly, thinking back on it, I feel like they were kind of done kind of poorly, to be honest. They were very like, it's like, you know, I feel like in the beginning it really was like a kid's book.
Yeah.
Or like a young teenage book.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that you got that emphasis on the certain stereotypes and, oh, the bully, you know, he's really over the top, the bully, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm glad that later on now that we kind of, you know, I feel like everyone's kind of maturing, not just, you know, the people in the book, but the audience itself. You know, we get a little more like realism or something, you know?
No, I get what you mean. I mean, I get what they were doing with the Dursleys, and I was kind of fine with it.
Well, they just felt a little like they were kind of comical to me, at least. They
felt honestly, so I was kind of, and I think now maybe I'm totally wrong, and I'm just a horrible human being, but I don't know how anybody else would take it any differently. Because there are points, especially towards the end, like at the beginning, it was really like kind of cruel and abusive, but especially when Harry wasn't like defenseless. To me, it was just kind of funny. Like there were times where it was honestly like, just comedy. Oh my gosh, like really, like this is how you're gonna react to this thing or whatever. Like, and I think it had to have been meant that way.
Yeah, I mean,
like there's no. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Like I said, I do like, you know, just adding just a little bit, even like a hint of another layer to the characters. Well, at least Dudley. I don't know about.
Well, I mean, that makes sense too. Like they're older, they're probably more set in their ways, whether it's right or not. But it's like it would be kind of messed up for this kid to like just ignore the such obvious humanity and good person that is Harry Potter. And so I liked that because that felt very real, even though, you know, it is kind of understandable how the parents could kind of just be like, we're stuck and old and stubborn and we're not going to listen. Yeah,
and I was definitely thinking that too, whereas like the kid is a lot more, you know, impressionable or whatever, and it's a lot, you know, hasn't been, what do you call it, like pushed into a certain spot. They're still, you know, kind of
still forming. Innocent. They're still figuring out habits and beliefs and ideas and everything like that.
And so I thought it was really cool and I really like how it kind of played out too. It wasn't too like, oh, you know, like lovey-dovey. It was very like, it was kind of awkward because like it would be really awkward, but it was, no, it was there.
Yeah.
And I like that. It was a hint of possible redemption, and that was cool.
I mean, I really liked the whole opening. I think that was done so well. That was like arguably my favorite opening of any of the books.
Yeah, I think this is going to be
next to the Prime Minister opening.
That's what I was going to say. This might be like right below it or right next to it.
And it was done. The movie did it kind of, but then it also didn't. Like there were parts of it, like that somehow they focused more on the teacher, like begging Snape for help and things like that made it really powerful. And like you saw Voldemort and like his weird sense of humor being like, oh, your cousin got blah, blah. And then how Bellatrix like freaked out and was like, oh my, no, like she's not our cousin or whatever. Like the way they did little things like that, I thought was really well done, and it just made it gave you like goosebumps. Like you're like, oh, Voldemort's just like weird, and like he really is kind of like this giant bully kind of, and he has this kind of like weird. I don't like toxic as a word, but that again, that is the way to describe this, is like this kind of like this weird dependent relationship with his Death Eaters, which you don't get a hint of at all in the movies. It's just kind of like, oh, here's the bad guys and here's the bad bald guy with no nose.
Yeah.
You really feel this like this like power dynamic where he's kind of like, okay, like you're gonna fear me. Like he's controlling these people by fear.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I like that you feel that like tension in the scene, even among the Death Eaters from Voldemort. It's a really well done scene. A really great way to open the book.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it was really cool in the movie because we never really got to see that whole like, I don't know, a lot of the Death Eater dynamic, like them meeting and then Snape coming in, and I feel like he like went through the gate. It was all like really cool.
Yeah,
how they did it, but I feel like they did it a lot better here. One of the things is, you know, because it is the book medium, it's gonna have certain advantages, and
of course.
I'm not going to take away, give. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
I liked how they were able to like describe certain things. Like, for example, where you couldn't in the movie, like how Bellatrix, like they said, or Rowling said, like, she wasn't able to express like what she wanted in words, so she was like leaning forward or closer to Voldemort.
Yeah.
And then like things like Voldemort noticing that Lucius was like jolted a bit when he was talking about his wand, and so he made fun of him like, you know, wanting his wand and all that.
Yes. Oh, I totally forgot about that. That was my like favorite part. The way they described, like, I've literally had, I mean, obviously I haven't had an evil wizard make fun of me for wanting to switch wands, but like no, but like you've had that like social dynamic, and the way that she described it to the point where my brain was like, oh, I totally get that. And like you've had that where like you do something or you like screw up or like you fall or something, right? And then like, you know, if you got cool people, they'll just be like, I saw that, like, screw around.
Yeah.
Or there's somebody be like, dude, and you're like, are you freaking kidding me? And like Voldemort doing that,
jumping on that
in the context, just for kicks. I thought that was such good character development for him, kind of.
Yeah, I also liked how all the Death Eaters would react to Voldemort. You know, when he said, "Be quiet," even though they're all rowdy at Lucius, they like immediately were silent. And then like when he was you know, they didn't want to look him in the eye and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But in contrast, like Snape is way more in control. Like where everyone else was looking away, he was looking directly at Voldemort and stuff, and he like wasn't wavering. I thought that was really cool.
And I think that's it's cool reading it all in the context. Like I would think that part of that is because Snape isn't evil. Like part of that comes from that confidence and that power, and kind of like, look, like I'm not afraid. Like, he isn't a Death Eater, and so he isn't afraid of Voldemort. And heck, if he was, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing. And that, I think, also knowing that he's good and having the teacher, like, beg him, like, got to me. Because it's like, oh, like, I can't imagine being in that situation where he can't even react. And he's like, yep, I know exactly who you are, and we probably were on talking terms, and I have to let you die.
Yeah. Like, whether you can
and
say it's cold or not, I think that, you know, he knows what he has to do, and he cannot give himself away.
And you're like a double agent, man. There's going to be decisions that I would never want to have to make that I feel like are unfair to judge.
Yeah, I think so too. Like you can't, he will never be looked at as that like bright hero that tries to save everyone, even if it like means it's kind of stupid at times.
Yeah.
But he is that like, you know, I gotta get something done.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of double agents that did stuff like that.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I agree. That was really cool. It's probably my favorite opening.
What else do we want to talk about?
Did you feel like there were any themes so far kind of in the beginning of this book? It's hard to tell because it really does feel like it's ramping up.
Well, it's hard to tell in the beginning of any sort of like, you know, story because like you haven't seen the entirety of it, so you don't know like the overall, like the ending. Like that's usually where you get like, okay.
More than the others though too, I think that it feels wider in scope than any of the other Harry Potter books. So it also feels like it's going to be a bigger come down, but right now it's like they're just building things up and you don't really know, like it's taking its time more because it's going to be this just like massive epic finale.
Yeah. I mean, I have a few things that I kind of wrote down that I thought were really cool.
Yeah.
Like one of the things was during the that's another thing is, even though we already talked about Mad Eye, I thought a few of the deaths were a lot more impactful, right? Mm-hmm. Like I felt really bad when
Hedwig?
Yeah, Hedwig.
Yeah.
I was like,
I actually cared. I wasn't just like,
he
has an owl, that's right.
Yeah, I totally didn't even remember the owl basically.
I know, it's horrible.
In the movie, I was like, wait. You know, okay, there was that one owl, but like, you know, we didn't even spend any time, so it's like this random owl, basically.
Yeah.
But in the book, it's like, you know, the Rowling is, you know, narrating what she's possibly thinking, you know, how she's getting annoyed with Harry a lot of times, stuff like that. So like, you know, when she died, it was like, oh, yikes.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with Mad Eye. Yeah. Another thing was during the whole fight in the air. I like how afterwards, like Lupin and Harry got into like a little argument about using the Expelliarmus at that time.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, so like that, I like those types of things because it's like you get more into like the mechanics of like what people are thinking. It's not just like, oh, you know, random stuff. It's like, oh, how did they figure out that I was the real Harry? And it's like, well, you were using the Expelliarmus.
Keep using your one move, dude. You're like a bad video game.
That's like your signature thing. They're like, what? You just use that move? That's the dude, you know? It's like,
that's so true. Man. No, I agree though. That was really fascinating.
I like little details like that because it makes it feel a lot more realistic. Like that's what would happen, you know?
And that's how people would try and figure you out. Like, oh, he hit him over the head instead of shooting him. Like, that's weird. Yeah. Who would do that? And like that makes sense. But they're like, that's gotta be Harry.
Yeah. I thought, you know, things like that were really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
I also noticed that Harry was being a lot more open, at least towards like, you know, how in the beginning he felt a lot more closed. Mm-hmm. Nowadays he's like really willing to tell people what's happening, kind of like, especially with the whole like Scar visions thing. I mean, he's having a lot of those recently. And so I feel like, you know, despite what Hermione and Ron kind of say to him and think, he still is willing to kind of discuss with them, or at least let them know that, hey, like,
he's more sure of himself, I think, and he's less scared to share and different things like that.
Yeah,
I agree. I
like before that. He was, you know, I mean, half the time he wouldn't even talk about his like vision and stuff.
Dude. Yeah, but yeah, I'm enjoying the book so far. I'm excited to finish the second part. We didn't quite get to where the movie got, but hey, we do our best. But yeah, we got 20 more chapters, 25 more chapters left, so I'm really excited.
I'm interested in the Albus Dumbledore's whole, you know, backstory. His whole shindig,
yes,
right?
And I want to see the whole Battle of Hogwarts.
Yeah, because remember this is one of the things that probably goes into the whole, is Albus good or bad?
Probably.
That whole thing. Because remember in the movie they did have this sort of like reveal that it was like he was using Harry or some weird thing like that.
Yeah, maybe, dude.
I am wondering,
I'm
like,
you guys are some Rita Skeeters out here, but
no. Yeah, I still 100% think I'm gonna stand by like exactly what I said, even if it does.
Dude is like what 200 years old. Like, oh, when he was 20, he made some bad decisions in his life. It's like, bro, I made bad decisions in my life when I was 12.
No, yeah, but I'm just talking about the whole. You know, I feel like.
Okay, but you should be able to do good things and make up for bad that you did in your life, and not have it be like, well, you did a bunch of good and you won 6 Nobel Peace Prizes, but you did kill that one person, so now you're still bad. It's
no, I get that point. I'm talking about the towards the end of this book where they say, you know, he was utilizing Harry for his plan.
Maybe.
And he didn't care about his life or something like that.
We'll see. We have to see the reveal. We have to see the reveal. I will give it its day in court.
It was honestly, very unclear in the movie. That's why I'm wondering, like, you know, how it plays out.
No, you're right. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you for reading along. Thank you for doing this series with us. Like I said before, I'm not sure if we're going to be doing any books just because it's very time consuming. But feel free to throw some suggestions for things that you would be interested in, and we'll definitely consider that. And yeah, thank you for watching. Next week's reaction, which is our final Harry Potter book review reaction, is going to be up on Patreon for you guys. Early access if you want to go check that out. It does really support us, help us keep doing what we're doing, so feel free to. But either way, thanks for watching. Thank you for joining us on YouTube or on Patreon. All you guys are great. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all in the next video.